well, my name is Jen Bears here at the iovine and Young Academy. Basically what that means is I work with students on the application process. I oversee our admission process, which we'll talk about in detail. And then once our students are here at USC in the Academy, I oversee their academic advising, their internship placement, making sure that they're connected with all of the resources that we have here. So it's a lot of fun. I get to help them in the door and then make sure they're successful while they're here at USC. What I'm going to be doing today is giving you, first of all, an overview of why this program exists, why our founders, Jimmy Iovine and Andre Young, felt that this was such a critical opportunity to create for students. We are the only program in the country currently that I know of that integrates the three areas that we focus on, which are the arts, which really primarily leans toward design, and integrating that with technology and business venture management. So I do like to start by talking about why it is that they wanted to start this type of program. If it's so unique, why did our founders and USC feel this was such a critical opportunity? So we'll talk a bit about that. Then I will talk about kind of the logistics of the program, what the degree looks like, what our classes are like, who our students are, of course the application process. Are you planning to apply for next year? Are you currently a senior?
No, I'm a junior.
Okay, junior, fantastic, so you've got some time. So we'll talk about what the application process will look like a year from now. And then of course answer any questions that you might have about the program, and I'm more than happy to take you on a tour of our facilities. This is our administrative space where our faculty offices are, business office, student services, but all the fun actually happens in the same building where you started your tour today. We're actually on the 4th floor of that building, and we call our facilities the garage. So I'm more than happy to take you on a tour. It's our classroom space, our collaborative area, and our maker space. So you can kind of check out where all the action happens. Before I get started, I've already met with my visitors today. Welcome back. But I'd like to hear a little bit about what your interests are and kind of what drew you to learn more about this program.
I'm Kenzie Culver. I'm a professional singer-songwriter and I'm in a band. And
Fantastic.
I wanted to learn about like the music business and music industry really. And I mean this degree that is offered in the iovine and Young Academy is something that was really interesting to me. I was scared about colleges and wanted something in music because it's my love and passion ever since I was young. And this school was on the Billboard Top 10 Schools for Music Business and Music Industry Studies. So this is where that's where I found out about it, and then now I'm here.
Good. So whenever I hear students talk about the main interest that they have is the music industry, I always want to make sure that you know what all of your options are.
Oh, yeah.
We don't focus specifically on the music industry. Billboard has, for the 2nd year in a row, put us in that ranking, which is fantastic. We do believe that you can take the skills that you're learning in this program and apply it to the music industry, but it's important to know that we don't focus specifically on music. And we'll talk more about kind of what the program looks like. We have a fantastic music industry program here at USC. It's in our school for music, the Thornton School of Music. So since you've got plenty of time to kind of look at all your options, I definitely recommend that you look into that as well. Thornton has both music industry, which focuses specifically on music industry, music business. They also have music technology, and of course all their performance-based music as well. So take a look at that, just to make sure to figure out which is the best fit for what it is that you would like to do. So I mentioned earlier I like to talk about the why. Our two founders are extremely successful, specifically in the music industry. That's where they got their start. And I think that oftentimes that's where the assumption is that this must be focused specifically on music. But again, we do have a music industry program here, so no need to kind of recreate what already exists here at USC. The idea for this particular program came from a partnership that they have with a company that they created called Beats Electronics. probably familiar. They created Beats by Dre headphones, which really revolutionized the headphone industry, created a multi-billion-dollar kind of fashion icon out of electronics product. They created Beats Music, which was an online streaming service. That company was purchased by Apple a few years ago in a $3 billion deal. So at this point in their careers, their focus has shifted a bit. And they're basically tech entrepreneurs in terms of what they're doing now. And it was that experience with Beats Electronics, with working now at Apple, that created this understanding of the fact that so many young people, right, when they went to go hire new people, when Beats Electronics exploded in popularity, the company grew very quickly. They had to find new people to bring on to this new company. And when they went out looking for new, fresh talent, they couldn't find exactly what they were looking for. So they could find designers to help them work on the look of the product, design the packaging, really kind of create the overall marketing brand. They could find the engineers to actually help them create the product. And they could find business people, right, to help them with their marketing, with their business models. So they could find each of those kind of siloed areas. But what they weren't finding is people who understood all three of these disciplines and who could understand the language between all three and who could really move easily through all of these different areas. And they really look at each of these three areas, design, technology, business, as critical to the success of Beats and companies like Apple. I always use the example of our iPhones and why are Apple products so popular. It's about the way it looks, the way it feels, the way you interact with them, just as much as it is about the technology. And obviously Apple's the biggest company in the world, so they're doing something right in terms of business models and marketing plans. So those are all design, technology, and business decisions. So they truly look at each of these three areas as critical to the success of their company. And they couldn't understand why people were not being trained across all of these disciplines. And so the rare kind of gems that they did find who had a thorough understanding of all three of these disciplines were people who had developed these skills over 20-year-long careers, kind of as they needed to along the way. And they just thought it was such a shame. Why does it take a 20-year-long career to develop this critical skill set? And those people that they had found that did have this skill set were the people that they hired to run their companies. And those are the people that excel at companies like Apple. So they thought, why don't we have an undergraduate program where we can actually teach students these foundational skills in all of these different disciplines? And most importantly, how to apply those skills. Hence our title of, it's a Bachelor of Science in Arts, Technology, and the Business of Innovation. Right? So making and creating new and exciting things. And so they decided they saw a need, they wanted to help fill that need. Neither of them went to college, so this is totally newfound ground for them. But they approached USC and they said, we have this need in our industry. We're not seeing it filled. What can we do to develop an academic program where we can train students in these critical disciplines and again, teach them how to apply the skills that they're learning? Now, as I'm sure you heard on your tour today, that USC is very interested in interdisciplinary education. Students are encouraged to major in one area and minor in something completely different. So kind of having this interdisciplinary style of teaching and learning is very important to this university. So the fact that no one else in the country was doing this, industry leaders are saying, we need this. And it fit perfectly within this interdisciplinary ideology that the university has. It just made complete sense. USC said, absolutely, we would love to create this new and innovative program here on our campus. Those conversations happened just a few years ago. We are one of the newest programs at USC. We opened our doors in fall of 2014. And next year is actually a very exciting year for us because it will be our first time graduating a class of students. So we'll be at full capacity next year, and we'll be graduating students with a Bachelor of Science in Arts, Technology, and the Business of Innovation. So that's my history lesson in terms of why this program was created. I'm going to show you a quick video that highlights our program, it highlights some of our students, and then we'll talk more about what the program entails.
The Academy was built for an entirely different profile of student. They are seeking a different style of education because they see their future differently.
I have a lot of intersecting interests, and iovine and Young Academy really appeal to that.
It's the perfect crossroads of arts, technology, and business.
If you're interested in entrepreneurship, this is the school to go to because it's a multidisciplinary approach.
The core theme of the Academy is innovation.
Being able to learn from people who are so well versed in so many different things is amazing.
This Academy just gets it. Faculty get it. The students get it.
The garage is a great place to work because you're able to bounce ideas off of anyone.
One thing that the Academy represents to me is opportunity.
Makers, creators, and doers. Inventors, innovators, and dreamers. Entrepreneurs, engineers, designers, and artists. We're searching for innovators at the crucial intersection of the arts, technology, and business. The ones that will shape our tomorrow. Are you one of us?
All right, so that is the question. Are you one of us? Are we a good fit for you? I always tell students that this is not the best fit program for everyone out there, but for that unique student that is looking for an opportunity to integrate all of these different disciplines, it's a pretty exciting opportunity to have. So as I've mentioned, what our program does is integrate the three areas that you see here with also a little bit of communication in there as well. We are a partnership between several of the professional schools here at USC that you've probably heard about in your tour today. So we work closely with the Roski School of Art and Design, the Viterbi School of Engineering, the Marshall School of Business, and also the Annenberg School for Communication. We quickly realized after creating the program that it didn't matter how great our students' ideas were if they couldn't effectively communicate those ideas. We obviously do a lot of visual communication, but we now work closely with the School for Communication and Journalism as well. Now, the way we are structured is very different than your typical interdisciplinary major. So the way it will often work, and you'll see this, I'm sure, as you look at other schools, is you take a handful of classes in one department. So let's say you go and you take some engineering classes at the engineering school. And then you take a handful of business classes over at the business school. You kind of put those courses together in this new list and you've got your new interdepartmental major. We are structured very differently in that our students are taking courses that are required for this major that have literally been designed specifically for the Academy. So these are brand new classes that have been designed by faculty who are sitting across from the table, like a design faculty working closely with an engineering faculty who's working closely with a business faculty. So they all came together and worked very closely to design the required classes that all of our students need to take. These are all listed on our website. This is just a sampling of some of the courses. We call these courses our core curriculum. With the core curriculum, students are given the most important foundational skills from design, technology, and business. Again, this is just a sampling of some of the courses, but full description as well as a sample 4-year plan are located on our website. So these are classes, again, that are designed by a team of faculty across all of these disciplines. The other thing that's really interesting about the way our program is structured is it is a cohort experience. And basically what that means is every year we aim to bring in around 25 or so students. And those 25 students will move through these required classes together as a group. They're primarily the only students in those courses, with some exceptions. And the courses typically take place in our facilities. So it's this very unique, kind of small school experience within this big institution that is USC. And again, the critical piece are these core classes that lay the foundation across all of the disciplines. Now, within these classes, a lot of what we do is experiential learning. So we're very interested in learning by doing. Right? We're not just going to talk about a skill. We want to see our students actually applying what it is that they're learning in the classroom. So a lot of what we do is team-based collaborative projects. And pretty much every class within the core, so all of these required classes, you will be doing some sort of team project where you're applying what it is that you're learning. And sometimes those projects will actually kind of go across different classes. So for example, right now, our students are taking a class called Innovators Forum. This is a class where we bring in innovators from lots of different fields, whether it's design, tech, business. We brought in people from fashion, from education, from healthcare. Anyone who we consider an innovator is invited to come and talk with our students. So that class is working currently with this Disruptive Innovation course, which is a business-leaning course, which talks about kind of the history of innovative products and innovative businesses. And so those courses actually have a joint project where they have to work together, pulling the skills that they're learning from each of those classes and applying it to one big final project. So I point this out because we're kind of blurring the lines, right? Not just within the major itself, but within the classrooms as well, which our students really tend to enjoy. So again, this is just a sampling of our courses. You see a lot of design. You see 3 semesters of dev, which is website development, app development, and database management. So a real solid foundation in tech. But then again, you see you're focused on the business courses and even multimedia and product design. So there's a lot of really interesting classes within the core. And again, all of those are described in detail on our website. Now, I mentioned that those core classes, all of our students take those courses together and they're all required to take those classes. But we also have what we call major elective courses, which is when our students get to decide what do they want to focus more on, kind of what do they want to dig deeper into and go even further. We call those our elective courses. And we have electives in all the different disciplines that you see here. And with the electives, we actually do rely on our partner schools. So if you wanted to take some electives in design, we have some courses that you would go take at the Roski School of Art and Design with other design majors. Or if you wanted to do communication, we would send you over to the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism and take classes there. So this is when our students get to customize the degree and again decide what they want to go a bit further into.
These are just electives with your major, or is it like an emphasis or a minor? How does that kind of?
We used to call them emphases, but so many students really just kind of wanted to pick and choose that we decided to call them electives, because maybe you just do one class in design and then you do another in audio and another in mechanics and materials. So many of our students didn't necessarily want to focus on one of these areas. So instead of calling it an emphasis, which you would think is kind of more focused, it's electives. They can kind of pick and choose what they want from a long menu of options.
What are some common, and I don't mean to hijack the whole thing, what are some common like minors or combinations? Obviously like web and tech design, coding or something might be very important to this style major, or?
Well, actually, all of that is in the core. So
Oh.
all of the things that you've mentioned, they would be learning before they even touch their electives. The core is very full of design, tech, and business. So they learn, again, have 3 semesters of web development, app development, database management. So they get all of that within the core. They get a heavy dose of design in the core and business. So everyone gets all 3 of those things. But then with the electives, that's when they get to decide what they want to go a little bit further into. And I mean, students have done all of the above. It just really depends on who they are. Some of our students want to take electives in areas that they're maybe the weakest in, and others, they want to do what they're passionate in. So it's totally up to the students how they want to kind of customize with these elective courses. In terms of minoring, we'll kind of look through what the rest of the major looks like, but it's a very intensive major, as you can imagine. We're
The
focusing
schedule
on
looks pretty,
exactly.
yeah.
You know, we're focusing on, and actually that is not the updated one. If you go back, to the curriculum. Oop.
Curriculum Plus.
We're gonna go curriculum. Oop. I'm gonna click on that. Sorry.
That's actually the one that popped up. Oh,
There you
there
go.
we go.
So scroll to the bottom. We've added new classes starting next year. Okay, so again, the elective areas are the courses that you get to kind of pick and choose what you're most passionate about. As I was saying, it is a very unit-intensive major, which basically means there's not a lot of wiggle room outside of the major requirements, which we'll finish talking about, those major electives, and then of course the USC general education classes. Every academy student takes all the USC GEs and writing requirements, just like any other USC student. So that being said, doing something like a minor would be challenging because there's just not that much unit room. But again, most of the students that we bring into this program, they're finding their passion within these 3 major disciplines that we focus on. In terms of kind of continuing to talk about the core, there's a couple year-long courses that I always like to highlight. I mentioned earlier that we're not only interested in giving our students this really unique skill set, but we want to teach them how to apply what it is that they're learning. And in fact, in 2 classes, in the junior and the senior year, our students are going to do just that on year-long projects, where they take everything that they've learned, all the skills that they've acquired, learning to work with each other, because again, they're collaborating throughout the first few years of the program, and then applying those skills to these junior and senior year classes. The junior year class that we call Discerning and Making is where we're going to talk with our students about what the entire process looks like when you have an interesting idea for something that you want to actually produce, whether that's a new product or a new business. What does it take to go from that idea to actually producing that? And this is a team taught course where we have faculty from design, from tech, from business, who are working together to teach our students what that process looks like. Again, going from idea to actual production. And this junior year class, they will be working on a year-long project, applying the skills to that type of process. With the junior year class, they're doing it for someone else though. It's an industry project that's been brought to us. One of the exciting things about the academy, we were born out of this need in industry, right? Industry came to USC and said, we're looking for this. And so as much as we can, we want to incorporate industry leaders into the major. And so for this junior year class, our students are working on a year-long project for one of our industry partners. The first time that we've offered this class is this year, because this is our first year with juniors. So currently we have 4 projects that our juniors are working on, and they're all very different. The first project is for a company that you're probably familiar with called Tom's Shoes. Tom's Shoes, their business model is buy a pair, give a pair. So for every pair of shoes that you purchase from Tom's, they then donate a pair to someone in need. Tom's just had a 10-year anniversary, and they're looking to kind of refresh their business model and look for new opportunities to grow their social entrepreneurism. And so we have a team of Academy students who are working with some of their high-level executives on that. Another group doing something totally different. They're actually working with a symphony in Miami, Florida, a really interesting symphony that's interested in finding new ways to put on a concert experience. So they're interested in combining the arts with technology to create an innovative concert experience for their patrons. And our students are going to be designing their fall series. So we're very excited about that next fall they're gonna jump on a plane and go to Miami and see their production. It's obviously very different than what our students are doing at Tom's. Another group, totally different, is working with a team of cancer research doctors here at USC. When those researchers first approached us, we weren't really sure what we could do for them. We said, we're not training doctors, we're not training scientists. And they said, that's exactly why we want to work with your students. You know, we are all trained in that same way to look at this problem from the perspective of a scientist. What we want to do is bring onto our team creative problem solvers, right? People who can look at a problem from a different perspective and use this kind of unique skill set to help this team of doctors to solve this, wicked problem that is cancer. And so we had a team of Academy students doing research with them over the summer, and that has now continued into this year-long project. And a few weeks ago, one of our Academy students was actually presenting some of their findings at the White House, which was very exciting for us. So again, the junior year, kind of practice, right? You're helping somebody else with their big idea. The senior year is when our students get to do that same year-long experience, but this time it's for themselves. It's for their innovative idea. So whatever it is that our students want to develop and produce as a part of this major, whether it's a new product, a new business, a new website, a new service, whatever it might be, they have their entire senior year to design and produce it. With faculty mentorship, industry mentorship, all the tools and the resources that we have access to actually produce their idea. What we anticipate will happen, again, this will happen for the first time next year, is that many of our students we know are interested in entrepreneurship. So we imagine that at the end of this fourth year, many of our students are going to want to pitch their idea to potential investors and see where it takes them after graduation. And we will certainly create those type of opportunities to pitch their ideas. But some of our students, maybe they don't want to be entrepreneurs, they want to go to work in a more established company. And again, circling back to the whole reason this program was started, is industry is looking for these creative people with technical skills who are also business-minded. So we know that there'll be many opportunities for our students upon graduation. And I'll talk more in a bit about the internships that our students have already received. Because unfortunately, I don't quite have the list of alumni just yet. So see me in a year from now. So again, this is kind of the breakdown of the degree, what the courses look like. They still do all of the USC requirements. So again, it's that kind of small, very intimate experience within this big institution that is USC. And our students have access to all of the resources from both. Now I've mentioned, as much as we can, we want to bring industry into the academy. We do that formally in the classroom. I mentioned that speaker series that our freshmen take called the Innovators Forum. This is just a sampling of some of the people that have come in to talk at the Innovators Forum. And again, it's not just a passive experience where they sit there and listen to a lecture for an hour and then they leave. It starts out with a lecture, and then the tables are turned, and our students actually have to present their ideas to our visitors. They're given a prompt, usually a week, sometimes 2 weeks in advance, and within teams, our students have to create solutions to whatever that prompt was. The prompt usually focuses on some issue in the industry that our innovators are coming from. And they have to present their ideas to our visitors. And then they receive feedback from people who are doing what it is that they might want to do in the future. So to give you an example, this year our freshmen in their 3rd week of college had to present to one of the vice presidents of Fox Studios about what the future of broadcast television looks like with things like Netflix and Hulu. You know, what does that do to broadcast television? And our students are presenting to someone who is actually knee-deep in trying to figure that out. So it's very exciting that very early on our students are exposed to, again, impactful people who are doing what our students might want to do in the future. Now, sometimes industry leaders don't want to be a part of a formal classroom experience where students are making presentations and getting graded. They look for more of a casual interaction. And so we actually have a time set aside, it's part of our Curriculum Plus that you saw on the website. Every Friday morning we have drop-in guests, and it's just a time that our students set aside for all of the industry leaders who want to come, meet, share with them. It's not tied to a class, there are no assignments, it's just an opportunity for them to be exposed again to industry leaders. And we pretty much have someone every week coming in either for the Innovators Forum or for the drop-in guest time. We do a lot of field trips. So we are in Los Angeles. It's truly a living laboratory, especially in the fields that we focus on. So we might rent a tour bus and take students to a new design firm or a museum. We're going to one of the studios on Wednesday. I'm not even doing it on Friday. So again, we really want our students to have that real world exposure. This will often lead to some pretty powerful internships. This is just, and this is on our website as well, but this is just a listing of some of the internships that our students have received just in the first 2 years of the program. And the companies that you would anticipate seeing are there. You've got Apple, you've got Intel, you've got some of the Google and Facebook companies. But you'll also see architecture firms, fashion companies, lots of media companies. Kobe Bryant hired 2 of our students as interns. So again, a lot of different places that can utilize this really unique skill set. And the list is ever growing. Now this list of internships, some of these are opportunities that our students found on their own, kind of went out and pursued and received. But many of them are companies that have reached out to us very specifically and said, we've heard about your program, we want to meet your students, and we want to hire your students. So it's very exciting to see. And one of the great things, I mentioned that we are quite small. We bring in around 25 students each year. So we know our students very well. So when we get that phone call from Kobe Bryant, for example, and he tells us exactly what he's looking for in an intern, I know 5 students that would be a perfect fit. And then we're able to send those on, and then of course the company will make final selections. But that's part of what's really great about being a part of such a small program, is your staff and your faculty get to know you very, very well. Any questions about any of this so far before we talk about our students and the application? All right. So who are these students? Obviously, this is a unique program. We are looking for unique students. First thing is there is no cookie cutter academy student. Right? They're all very different in terms of their backgrounds, in terms of their interests, their skills coming into the academy. They're all very different. And that's part of what makes it so special, is we're looking to bring in this really unique bunch of students, give them this powerful skill set, and basically just kind of get out of their way and see what happens when they collaborate together. That being said, there are certainly some qualities that we're looking for in our application. The first thing, absolutely most important quality we're looking for is creativity. We are looking for creative people who have interesting ideas and who want to gain the knowledge and the skills to actually act on those ideas. That being said, we define creativity very broadly in the Academy, and I'll talk more about that in the application. So sure, we have many students who are phenomenal artists, but we have plenty of students who've never taken a drawing or a design class, and that's okay. We just need to see creativity demonstrated in some fashion. So that's the number one thing. Second thing is you need to have an aptitude for technology. Same thing, this doesn't mean that you have to have AP Computer Science and know how to code in 3 languages. You're gonna learn all of that once you get here. But you have to at least want to learn, because again, that's such a critical piece of what we're doing in the foundation of the Academy. Our students are typically interested in entrepreneurship, they're leaders in their communities or at their high schools. Clearly you need to have an interest in multidisciplinary thinking and problem solving. I've talked at length about how important collaboration is. Our students are constantly working together on various projects. If you're the type of student who really kind of likes to work on your own, is not that interested in collaborating, you will be miserable in the Academy. Because literally day one, you're on a team. And that will continue throughout the 4 years of the program.
Are you on that same team all 4 years since you come in as a group of 20 or 25?
Group of 25, and they will move through the program together, but within the courses, they'll mix and match the teams, absolutely. Yeah. By the end, the hope is that you've worked very closely with everyone in your cohort. Our students are curious. I think they want to know how things work. Can we find new solutions for existing problems? They take initiative. They're typically the type of student that, maybe they didn't have a coding class at their high school, but they've got some amazing idea for a new app. So they're online watching tutorials, trying to learn this skill so that they can bring their idea to reality. And the way we find our students is through a very thorough application and selection process. We are listed on the Common Application, and I'm sure you heard about that today. We are a first choice only major, and we're listed as IYA, so Iovine Young Academy, Arts, Technology, and the Business of Innovation, because that is the degree title. We are a first choice only major, and that's because we select such a small number of students that we need to know that this is where you want to be at USC as your first choice. That being said, you can select a second choice major, whatever else you might be interested in at USC, whether that is business or anthropology. The one thing I will say is music is also a first choice only major, as is film production. So those are the areas that if you are interested in all of those, you do need to make a clear determination. But again, you get to choose 2 majors. The Common Application gives us a lot of critical information, what you would typically see in a college app: transcripts, test scores, letters of recommendation, essays, your extracurricular activities. We see all of that within the Common Application. But for us, it's not enough, right? Because again, we're looking for creative people with those interesting ideas. So we have a portfolio requirement as well. And it is 2 parts. The first is a 1-minute pitch video where we ask our applicants to pitch us an idea that fulfills a current need. And that's pretty much all the instructions we give. It's intentionally vague. This could be an idea that you have worked on in the past. It could be an idea that you'd like to work on in the future. Or it could even be a blue sky idea where you have no idea how to make this happen or if this is even feasible. But what if you could do this? In addition to being very open in terms of what you pitch, it's also up to you how you pitch your idea. So for some students, it's literally just them talking in front of the camera for a minute. Other students, it's an animated film. And other students, it's a commercial for their idea. Totally up to you what you pitch and how you want to pitch it. Just has to be a minute or less. That's the one rule. In addition to that, we need to see examples of how you express yourself as a creative person. And as I mentioned earlier, we define that very broadly. So for some students, it certainly would be your typical fine arts portfolio, painting, drawing, sculpture, photography. But for other students, it might be creative writing, additional film, musical composition, app development, web development, poetry, however you express yourself as a creative person. We want to see it. And we allow you to submit up to 5 examples of that. All of that, the common application and the portfolio, is due by December 1st. So that's important to note because it is an early deadline for USC. The final deadline is January 15th, but because of our portfolio, we do have that December 1 deadline. We typically get around 300 applications. That's been pretty consistent. From that 300, our faculty, who again come from all the disciplines that we focus on, will review all of the materials that are submitted. So they see your common application and your portfolio. From that 300, they will select typically around 60 or 70 applicants to move forward in the application process. Those folks are invited to interview, and those interviews happen in February. Again, we interview around 60 to 70, and after those interviews are done, our faculty will make their final recommendations as to who they want to admit to the program to bring in the 25 or so into the cohort in the fall. And USC notifies all students of their admission decision by April 1st. So that's kind of what the timeline looks like. For students who are not admitted to the academy, they will be considered for their second choice major at USC. And every year there are students admitted to their second choice major or even as undeclared, and then they can kind of come and find their path once they get to USC. Any questions about the application process? All right. Do you want to see a sample video from one of our applicants? Might be interesting to hear.
Sure.
Okay. So this is a video from Jane, who is one of our current juniors. Jane's primary interest is in product design. That has continued throughout her time here. And she actually worked at Google over the summer interning in their product design division.
At the time, funds, and technical training, vloggers often find setting up lighting expensive, difficult, and time-consuming, and many choose to film on the go, so using traditional studio lighting is impossible. Arcam offers a solution. Designed to resemble the popular Iron Man's arc reactor to appeal to the young demographic, 77.6% of vloggers being under 35 years of age, it allows easy, portable lighting. The main light can be hung on the camera lens to illuminate the subject, which is ideal for capturing a vlogger's face. The secondary light is attached to a detachable mini tripod that has the additional feature of a clip, so it can be placed on or clipped onto any surrounding object or surface. Both lights are packaged in an aluminum case kept in place by latches and are powered by solar panels on the backside of the case. It has detachable straps that, when removed, unfolded, and stretched, can be used as light reflectors, diffusers, or green screens. Arcam can be carried easily like a small backpack when the straps are connected, and is small enough to fit inside most bags.
Info you can get in minutes with that one. All right, and there's Jane up there actually. Okay, so we talked about the program, our students, the application. I'm going to leave you by talking about our facilities, which we call the garage. Calling the space the garage is our wink to the fact that so many innovative companies and technologies have literally started with somebody tinkering around in their garage. And we wanted our students to have that same type of environment here at USC. So it is their classroom space. That is where a majority of those core classes take place. It is a collaborative area. There's a big open space when you first walk in, which is where they work on all of their group projects. And it's also a maker space. So they have access to all sorts of tools and resources to bring their ideas to reality. And again, I'm more than happy to take you on a tour if you would like. One thing I will also say, the garage is actually a temporary space. We just finished our early design plans for our new building. So we will break ground next year on a 3-story building just for the academy, which will, hugely increase the amount of resources that our students will have access to. So we'll open our doors a couple of years after breaking ground, but it's a pretty cool temporary space, I would like to say. My contact information is here. You also have my business card. My email is in the brochure. Email is by far the best way to get a hold of me. So if you have questions about the academy or just USC in general, please feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to answer any of those questions. Again, our website, that's where we update any information about the program. We highlight our students. We highlight just kind of what's going on in the academy there. And we're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so you can kind of take a little peek into what's going on day to day in the academy as well. Any other final questions before we take a little walk? Sure.
If the music industry program is first choice only and this is also first choice only, how might, like, if I end up going to the music industry and I realize, oh, that's not what I want to do, I want to try again the iovine and Young Academy, can I transfer in?
Once you were here?
Yeah.
So we call that internal transfers. Students are welcome to do that. We open our application doors to all current USC students. The only thing is it's a 4-year degree. So if you were to come in as a freshman in a different major and then apply to the academy, it would take you 5 years at USC. So it takes 4 years from whenever you enter the major. But that's up to students to decide if that's something that would work for them.
And I'm pretty sure I heard you correctly, but it would be very difficult to take this program and do a minor, like.
It's not impossible, but it would be challenging. So I do have a handful of students who are minoring, and what that means is they're taking the most, if not more, units a semester. So basically, USC has what we call flat rate tuition, which means it doesn't matter if you take 3 classes or 5, you pay the same amount of tuition. So our program plan that you saw, that isn't maximum units, right? It's just kind of this is the minimum that it would take. So if you maximize your units every semester, which to be honest, a lot of our students do anyway, that opens up more elective room, which could then go to a minor. A couple of my students who are minoring are taking summer classes to open up some more space. And then there are actually ways to satisfy some of the general education requirements before you even get here, with like AP exams or community college work before you get to USC. So all of those things kind of whittle away at the number of units you have to do here, and that does open up a bit of a window. But it would definitely be challenging, but not impossible.
It's just great to know
what our options are.
Absolutely.
Possibilities. Absolutely. I always say you want to know what all of your options are. Yeah. It's a big decision.
It is.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Do you want to see the facilities?
I'd love to.
Do you want to see the garage?
All right. All right, give me just a second to put my computer away and then we'll take a little walk. Right next door. And I'm assuming you want to come with us as well?
Okay.
Fantastic. All right. I will be right back.
Oh, you don't?